Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another video on the channel, where today we are going to be looking at what I believe to be the top 5 formations this year in FIFA 20. Now, bearing in mind, this is my personal list. This isn't necessarily what everybody's going to agree with. So if you do have a different opinion, do let me know in the comment section, but obviously try and keep it civil. Remember that this is my opinion. So we've got today the top 5 formations. Now, for you guys, a few of you guys have recommended that when we do our formation videos, that you would like to see some sort of ranking system, like we are going to be doing today in our formation video. So obviously there's around 30 formations in the game. So what we could do is go back and review all the formations. At some point, maybe at the end of the video, we have a little ranking session where we rank the formation in that 30. So for example, if we're reviewing a 4-4-1-1, we might say it's the 14th best formation or something like that. I know a lot of you guys have suggested that, so we'll get that going in the formation videos. But starting off at number 5, I have decided to put the 4-4-2 at number 5. Now, some people maybe would put this higher in their list. I do see a lot of people using this 4-4-2 this year, but as I said, given that this is my own personal list, I decided to put the 4-4-2 at number 5. I do think it is a very, very effective formation this year in formation. And the reason why for me I think the 4-4-2 is a good formation is because it's very, very simple to use. You don't have to be a good player to use it. But it's this formation that, as I explained before in a video that when we did do the 4-4-2, it's a formation that is scalable to your skill level, you know, because it's a sort of formation that if you're a really, really skilled player, you can make it seem like a top level formation. But given the fact that it's very simple, it's just a back 4, it's just a flat 4 in midfield, 2 up front, a typical 4-4-2. Even a lot of beginner players can use this formation and find it effective, and it is a very tough formation to play against. You know, even though it doesn't have like a cam or a CDM to be able to link between sort of the centre backs to the midfielders and the midfielders to the strikers, it is still a very difficult formation to break down. I think that's one thing that I would say is so good about the 4-4-2 is it's very, very difficult to break down. You know, your players always seem to be in formation, and it's just very difficult to get between the lines. Even if you do have your cams, you know, a 4-2-2 is a good formation to play, for example, against this 4-4-2, because you do have then 2 cams in between the lines. But even then, it can still be quite a difficult formation to play against. So I think the 4-4-2 I personally rate quite highly, and I do think it is one of the better formations in FIFA. Hence why I've got it in my personal top 5. At number 4, I've decided to go for the 4-2-3-1 wide, and again, another formation that some people would most people in FIFA, this is the ultimate formation. Most people would say this is the best formation in the game, and it's hard to disagree with that. You know, I personally, when I play Weekend League or I play Rivals, you see this formation in probably 8 out of 10 games. You see most people using it. But the thing is, for me, it is still a top formation, but the reason why it's not made my number 1 spot is just personally because I find certain other formations suit my play style better. And that's the key when you're picking a formation. You have to pick a formation that suits your style of play. And the 4-2-3-1, don't get me wrong, it's a formation that I do use. It is one of my D-pad tactics. You know, it's a formation that I do switch to at some point. But it is just, for me, there's other formations that suit my play style better than this one. What I don't like personally, from my experience about this formation, is I don't like the left and right midfielders. I just feel like sometimes this formation can feel like it's a little bit defensive, because your left and right midfielders have to come from so deep before they get involved in the attack. So it's probably the hardest formation to break down, in my opinion. You know, it's such a difficult formation to break down because defensively it really doesn't have too many holes in it. It's so solid. You know, obviously you've got back 4, 2 CDMs, the left and right mids give good protection, you know, and you've got the cam and striker. So it's a really, really tough formation to break down. But the only personal thing that I don't like about this formation is I find it a little bit defensive, and I don't like how the wide midfielders are obviously midfielders and they just start from so deep, and for me that just makes it feel like a little bit of a defensive formation. But there's no getting around the fact that this is probably the most used formation in FIFA, and if you're someone that is looking for a formation to use, you know, this is always a great place to start, because it's so popular, and again, it's relatively easy to use. It's not a difficult formation to use. But for me, I'm going to put this 4-2-3-1 wide at number 4 in my formation list. At number 3, I've decided to put the 4-3-3-4. Now this is might be a little bit controversial going ahead of the 4-2-3-1, but again, this is my personal list. This is my top 5. These are the top 5 formations that I personally like using, and the reason why I put this one at number 3 is because it is so fun to use. It's such a really good offensive attacking formation. It's such good fun. Every time you seem to attack in this game, especially in this formation, you seem to score. You know, you create so many chances. Defensively, it's not great. You do get opened up. Obviously, not having a CDM, you do get opened up. Even if you do keep your back 4 on stay back while attacking, all of them, it gives you a good level of protection. But the big thing that I found when using this formation is obviously in the midfield, you do kind of get left high and dry. You don't really have any protection. But this formation is so fun to use offensively. You create so many chances. You have so many opportunities to score. And it's just a really fun formation. If you want a really fun attacking formation, where I always find when you play these 4-3-3 games, the good thing about it is you always drag your opponent into an end-to-end game, even if there's someone that's maybe sat back defensively, because you are quite open in the midfield and in defence, it's going to force them to attack. So if you're someone that wants like an end-to-end game and a really attacking offensive game, this is a great formation to use, because as I said, it forces people to attack on you because they have the space to. So if somebody's sitting deep, this is a great formation to use because it's so chock-a-block attacking, and it can lead to your opponent counter-attacking you, so it's gonna make for an open game, and it just then makes for a really fun game. You know, it's just a really fun formation to use, and it's formation that if I want to have a little bit of fun in FIFA, or if I'm playing the draft or something, it's formation I always pick, because it just means you can have so much fun attacking, you get so many chances, and it's just a really great formation. So that's why I put it at number 3. At number 2, I've decided to go for the 4-2-3-1 narrow. Now this is an interesting formation. Of the 4-2-3-1 formations, this one for me is the better formation, but this is the one that personally suits me better. Now for my personal play style, I like to play quite narrow, but I still like to have a little bit of width in my team. Now the 4-2-3-1, obviously you do have a little bit of width because they are left and right cams, so they're not as wide as midfielders or wingers, but they are kind of almost players, as I said, they're like inside cams, so they're kind of in between being wingers and being, you know, normal traditional cams. And that for me suits my playstyle absolutely down to a T, because I'm not someone that likes wingers too much in FIFA, because I always find that the wingers and wide midfielders, as I said before, they start too wide, and I find that sometimes it can be quite difficult to get them involved in the game, and involved in the game can be, you know, getting assists or just involved in the play, scoring goals. And sometimes, you know, the wingers, I find it's tough to do that. So with these wide cams, they are a little bit narrower, but they still do have width, so it kind of gives you best of both worlds. You know, they are getting involved in the play, but because they are a little bit wider, they still give you width. So and having width in this game is very important, or having some element of width where you can sort of change the play a little bit. You know, I don't like playing in super narrow formations because everything is kind of very one-dimensional, but in a formation like this, you do have the width, you know, and it still gets, as the 4-2-3-1-2, the wide version, you still have pretty much the same structure defensively. You know, you still have the back 4, the 2 CDMs, the cam and the striker. Only difference is, instead of left and right midfielders, you now have left and right cams, and for me personally, that suits me better. You know, I always play far better with this formation than with the 4-2-3-1 wide. Not taking anything away from the 4-2-3-1 wide, it is a tremendous formation. But for my personal play style, if you're someone that likes to play FIFA and you play quite narrow and you're not someone that likes using a lot of width, this formation will probably suit you better than the 4-2-3-1 wide. If you still want to have that width in your team, that proper, you know, wide wingers and stuff, then the 4-2-3-1 wide will suit you better. But for me personally, this is a formation that I love using, and it suits my team really perfectly. You know, I've kind of built my team around these sorts of formations. Everyone slots in really perfectly, and it's just a great formation in my opinion. But then at the number 1 slot, I have gone for the 4-3-2-1. Now this is going to be a little bit controversial, there's no doubt about it, and that's alright, because obviously it is my opinion. If you do have a different opinion, then do let me know in the comment section what you think the best formation in this game is. I have a feeling that most people would probably say the 4-2-3-1 or the 4-4-2 or something like that. But for me, this 4-3-2-1 is, I just love this formation. You know, obviously we've done videos on it before, and you've seen, you know, a lot of you guys have seen my gameplay and asked, and this is a formation that I always give you. I love this formation so much because as I said with the 4-2-3-1 narrow previously, it suits my playstyle perfectly, and that's the key thing when you're picking a formation. You have to pick a formation that suits your playstyle, and not just pick a formation because it is deemed to be the best or the most popular formation. Ultimately, you have to test yourself and find a formation that works for you, and this 4-3-2-1 works perfectly for me. As I said before, it's obviously still got width, but it's, you know, those left and right forwards, that's the key. They play quite narrow, but they can still offer width, and that's really key when I play, because I'm not someone that does very well when I use wing formations. I'm much more effective when I use kind of these narrow formations, but they still have the option for width in them. You know, these left and right forwards can still drift a little bit wider and give you a little bit of width. Not everything is super narrow, but obviously their natural position is to play sort of those inside forward roles, and then I'm just able to score so many goals because it means I've got 3 strikers basically in the middle of the pitch. And normally you're playing against people that have got 2 centre backs, and it can just, you know, really overrun their centre backs and make it so difficult to play. You know, I've got players like Socrates and Vidal able to run from midfield and get into the box and score. You know, and then I've got some really good defenders and a good CDM in Alan, so it just really suits my playstyle. Only thing that can be a little bit tricky is obviously not having that cam sometimes can make it a little bit difficult to link from the midfield to the front 3. But overall, this is an incredible counter-attacking formation as well. I counter-attack so well with this formation, and it's just, for me personally, it's the best formation that I personally think is in the game. Now, that's obviously not going to be a popular opinion, because this is not a formation I really see too many people using, but it's a formation that really gets the best out of me, and I seem to play my best FIFA with this formation. So if you ask me what you think the best formation in the game is, this would be the answer I'd give you. It's not the typical answers that you'd probably get from most people, but this formation suits my style of play, and that's why I always try and preach for you guys. Always try and find something that suits you and your play style, and get some players that suit you and your play style, and you'll notice that your FIFA massively improves. And also, if you're playing with a formation and players that you want to play with, you'll also enjoy the game a lot more. And that's why I always try and preach with our videos, because I always want you guys to enjoy FIFA as much as possible, because it is a game and not a chore. So hopefully you guys did enjoy this video, and you do take something away from this video, that these are what I believe to be the best 5 formations. But if you do have another opinion on what you think the best 5 formations are in the game, do let me know in the comment section. Make sure you do leave a like on the video if you enjoyed, and make sure you hit that subscribe button as well if you are new to the channel. But that is all for today, guys. Have an awesome day. I'm out.